All right, so let's take a look at where we left off last time. We have our walk from 1 to 30. I'm going to highlight all of these so we can see this a little better. And then from 31 all the way to 60, we have our sidestep. And from 61 to 120, we have an idle. We're going to take a look at a different way of exporting. So I'm going to go to File, Game Exporter. And once that opens up, we'll take a look at the settings. Actually, I think it shrunk down here. So you have three tabs here: Model, Animation Clips, and Time Editor. We're not going to cover the Time Editor. What we're really going to look at is Animation Clips and Model. So notice we put all of our animations on one timeline. This is different than what we did with the other character, which is the two-legged walk. And on this model, what we want to do is we want to select the path. Now I'm going to go back to Unreal really quick. And in here, what I did is in the characters folder, I made a folder called Playable Character. And these are, the generic robot that we made, the animations and all that stuff. And then this character can be a playable character, but for now, I'm just going to put it in a folder called NPC. And then I made another folder called Four-Legged in here. And then you can right click on this folder, do Show and Explore. And really, I think I did it just on characters, but Show and Explore. And then what I can do is I set mine to the desktop. I created a shortcut by right-clicking on it and going to Send to Desktop Create Shortcut. And so now I have a desktop on my place on my desktop I can quickly just export these out. So inside of my model exporter here, under settings, I'm going to leave it as Y, and then I'm going to, for the path, I'm going to pause the video and I'm just going to go to my desktop and direct it to the NPC folder. So I went ahead and set the folder to NPC, but I changed it from Four-Legged to QuadBot. I thought that might make for a more interesting name for the character. And even for the file name, I'm going to do QuadBot there. So off here on the side in the animation clips, I'm going to add a clip here. And if you remember, from 1 to 30 is our walk. So I'm just going to name this QuadBot_walk. And then I'm going to add another clip here. And if you remember, from 31 to 60, it was our sidestep. So QuadBot_sidestep. And that was 31 to 60. And then our last animation was from 60 to 120. And that was our idle animation that we created. And that was 60. Now the first thing we need to do is jump back over to the Model tab and go ahead and click Export and then switch between here and Unreal. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Export here, hit OK, and then back in Unreal, we should get prompted right away that there is a model. Now we don't have a skeleton because this model has a skeleton that's coming with it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Import All and then just clear that out. There's some items that are missing a name. But you can see here's my skeleton that we created with all those different elements, as well as the physics asset, which has, you'll see here, the different parts of it that are lined up with the joints, that if we ever want to do ragdoll or whatever, it's nicely set up. And then we have the actual mesh, the QuadBot static mesh. So let's go back over here, and we're just going to export all of these animation clips. And I want to make sure that it's set to the same folder. So I'm going to pause the video and then click on this option here and do the same. Now notice I already prefixed these with QuadBot walk sidestep, but if you wanted to avoid that underscore, you could write QuadBot_ here, and then it'll do walk sidestep and idle for you. I just kind of did it myself. So I'm going to go ahead and hit export, and this is going to send them all over. And once that's done, I'm going to jump back into Unreal. Now for each one of these animations, you want to make sure that they're all referencing QuadBot skeleton. And that also, for me, it was on by default, but I was doing a demo in my class, and this convert scene units was not on by default. So I wasn't even aware that that needed to happen. Another area that you want to pay attention to is under animation here. We want to just do the exported time. And that's going to be the time that's for each section. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Import All. And then QuadBot skeleton looks good to me. Same thing, Import All. And then QuadBot skeleton looks good. All of it is the same, import it and hit Import All. And then go ahead and close this out. Now, another thing I like to do is I right click and I just create a new folder inside of here. And I call this folder Anims. And this is just so I have a place to store the all the idle stuff. Let's see, here's idle, here's walk. And really the animation file that we're looking for is this one right here. And then here's our sidestep. And let's just drag these inside of here. We'll click move here. So that's a little bit cleaner. We have these here. Now for the animations, you can test them. This is the mesh. Now we really should have just not checked in a static mesh. You can actually go in here and select these mesh files, because really we can re-reference this onto our model. So we can get rid of those. Let's see where else. This QuadBot idle. We want this animation file. Sorry, we want to keep all the underscore anim files. We just don't need these mesh files, these pink ones. So I'm gonna hit delete, and I'll force delete those. I don't think I really need them. I don't even think we need these physics assets, because we can use the physics asset from our other one. So for example, if I double click this idle animation here, you can see there's a skeletal mesh. And if I click on this, it's still using it. Now it looks like let's take a look. We might have to re-export this, but if I go over this on frame, it looks like it went all the way to frame 60, which is good, but oh, it went from, actually, you know what it is? I'm supposed to go to 61, that's why. So it's not a big deal. That's my QuadBot sidestep. So notice this is 31, or QuadBot idle. So if I make this 61 here, and I uncheck these others, and I hit export again, it'll write over that file. So if I go back in here, I should get a message that it's refreshing, and close that out. Now when I press play, I shouldn't get that weird file. So there we go. Okay, so it looks good. So we have these three here. Okay, so let's go back for a second. That looks pretty good. So we've got all those animations in there. Let's check the size. So if I drag this in, looks pretty good. That's roughly the size when we were basing it off of our Unreal character, because this one is also kind of based on that size. So we got our little character, and you could always scale it up if you like. But I'm going to delete that for now, and we have our animations in there. So in the next video, we'll take a look at maybe creating another area out here, and looking at different types of artificial intelligence or movement, but we still have to set up the animation controller and stuff for this model.